kids are too. Oh, when I said he can hit the tail once, he can do it on.
I just say hi.
Mine was a swim team.
It felt like a reunion. Dr. Wilson.
Yeah, the door clear.
Texting it up. Yeah, go on over there.
What's the smartest they can do? They talk at the table. What's the line?
Hey Larry, how are you? Doing okay?
Okay, we have updated budget documents. So this is staff compensation clarification. Reducing, it's an update to the central business. And then magnitude.
call our work session to order and hope we don't have a fire. We'll be in big trouble. Great to see a great turnout. Welcome to everyone. So roll call, please.
Chairman Smith,
Here.
Mrs. Black,
Here.
Mr. Connor,
Here.
Mr. Daugherty,
Here.
Mr. Groan,
Here.
Mrs. Haddon,
Here.
Mrs. Jones,
Here.
Mr. Keene,
Here.
Mrs. Schaefer,
Here.
Mr. Slater, Ms. Thomas, Superintendent Dr. Robertson.
Okay. It's time for our delegations, and before I turn this over to Ms. Jones, let me just try to explain something. And Mr. Bennett, I'll ask if I explain this incorrectly, you stop me. But the way I understand our policy, obviously, we've had 40 plus people that have signed up to speak tonight, and obviously we cannot do that. We'd be here till next week. So what we are going to do and have done is we've clustered you, the ones that have signed up, into the groups that the topic that you would like to address. And in a moment, Ms. Jones will call you up in that group, and when that group comes, that group will have 5 minutes to talk about that specific topic. Now, you can either appoint one person to do that, or you can split that time among yourselves. You can decide as a group how you would like to do that. Secondly, we have 3 that have signed up to speak tonight on items that are on our agenda. And they get their 5 minutes, just like they always do. And then we have some individual students that have signed up, and they get their 5 minutes. So, Scott, am I okay? Okay. But we're going to give everybody a chance to speak, everybody, here in a few days, and Ms. Jones is going to talk about that just for a minute. So, Ms. Jones?
Can I make a request? When a speaker comes up to speak about a topic, for the people who are in the audience who came to support that topic, will you just raise your hand so that we can see why people are here? I appreciate it.
When we announce which one we're doing, we need to announce it outside, because I know there's some speakers that are stuck that are not allowed in.
Is there someone outside to do that?
Can you do that for us, man? Thanks.
Where you going?
I'm gonna yell out there if you're talking.
Oh, Rachel, was Rachel going? Were you going to alert the people?
You got the list? All right, go ahead. All right, Ms. Jones. Order, please.
That's what that's for. Good afternoon. Because of the situation, I'm going to read the statement once. This applies to everyone that is on my nice color-coded list, okay? I'm going to read the statement, and then I'm going to call, based on topic, I'm going to call name and topic. Name and topic. Okay, y'all with me? Thank you for your interest in addressing the Hamilton County Board of Education. During your presentation, please address the board as a whole, not individual board members or administrators. Also, please do not present complaints or concerns you have about an individual employee of the school system. If you wish to voice those complaints and concerns, you should contact the central office and ask for a meeting with the superintendent, since the superintendent is responsible for individual employees. Please limit your remarks to 5 minutes. I will tell you when you have 1 minute left. You may begin when you are ready. So first up is, the topic is budget concerns. Listed are Rebecca Day, Andrew Benson, B.W. Ruffner, Harriet Reed, and Daniel Rudd. Danielle Rudd. Looks like they're all here, Ben. Also, this is the first meeting in which we will follow our board policy, where you need to state your name, your address, what district you live in. Is what counted in your time? Your name? No. Now, if we was taking a standardized test, yes, no, but no. And that ain't funny, but it is true.
So, before you start the clock, if each one of you would give your name, and then we'll start the clock. We don't want to take your time. So each one of you give your name and like the
Name, address, district.
Rebecca Day, 1335 A Slinger, Sail Creek, District 1.
Harriet Reed, District 7. My address is on file.
D.W. Ruffner, Grayswood Hill, Signal Mountain, District 2.
Danielle Rudd, my address is also on file. I live in Georgia, and I'm at East Hamilton.
Andrew Benson, 1306 Dugdale Street, Chattanooga, Tennessee, 37405, District 6, I believe. Ben Conlon, my guy.
Okay. Are we ready to begin the time?
Each of us are going to take a minute.
I know, but I gotta start your 5 minutes first, Ms. Harry. Come get you.
All right, I just want to touch on this real quick, and this is mostly for the public because I think you guys already know this. Public Hamilton County salary data shows that positions earning $70,000 or more are mostly administrative, and they grew by 351% from 2020 to 2024. They grew from a little over 300 positions in 2020. Now there's over 1,400 positions. Cutting some of these positions could help close the budget gap. Also, for those in this room who are concerned about funding undocumented students, I just need to touch on out-of-district students are currently paying tuition. American legal parents that pay taxes. So the community deserves transparency. We want to know how many undocumented students are enrolled for free and how many legal citizens are currently paying out-of-district tuition. Thank you.
I would like to say that there's a lot of places that can be cut in the budget, particularly when we look at the federal government. We see a lot of waste that's going on. For us to believe that there's no waste in Hamilton County is absurd. So we really do need to figure out where the waste is. When I look at the proposed budget, I can see that there's $36 million being spent on Every Child Belongs. That is not anything to do with education, with the exception of the the coaches, the tutors that are there. We do need the tutors, but when kids can't read and they can't write, we need to focus on education. We need to get rid of all the positions that have nothing to do with education, such as all the counselors, the Centerstone. All that needs to go because that is the purview of the parents. It has nothing to do with education. We need to focus on education. When kids are graduating and they can't read, it's about education.
Hi, I'm Danielle Rudd, and you may have seen me on Channel 9 News the other night. I just wanted to point out that all of the cuts that are being made, we need to have the children at the focus of this. These cuts that are being proposed hurt the students. Whether it's a seed coach, whether it's a nurse, whether it's not giving teachers their steps, all the way down to the people who run our front offices. These situations and the proposed cuts that are made are only going to hurt the students. They are the ones who are in the schools. They are the ones who are over-tested. And I'm so glad to see some students here tonight because we are all trudging through TCAP currently. So thank you for coming out. And if anybody would like a copy of this, I have the testing windows that our district does. Thank you.
I've got a much different perspective. I'm a retired physician. I didn't come to argue for budget cuts. What I'm here to argue for is more teachers, smaller classes. Do that one way or the other. My principle, my point to you guys and to the audience is to remember that what we're investing in is an investment that will not pay off next year, but it pays off in 10 or 20 years when the quality of our citizenry, well-educated children end up being very good taxpayers. And I'll make another quick point as a retired physician. Well-educated children are healthier. They get their vaccinations, they get their mammograms, they tend to keep their weight off, they exercise, they don't smoke as often, and all of these things end up decreasing the burden on the healthcare system. So again, my message to you.
I wanted to get mine.
Yeah, we got one.
We got one more.
1 minute.
Oh, stop. Okay. My word is well-educated children are an investment in the future.
So I was going to start by saying the parents need to have their voices heard. I think we're being heard tonight. I want to be clear that I'm against any cuts to nurses and transportation. If we lose nurses and buses this year, what do we lose next year or the year after that? Cutting healthcare professionals and transportation will result in increased absenteeism and lower graduation rates. If our schools are failing, families will leave, and we'll see a drop in revenue. So I say this without exaggeration. This moment decides if Hamilton County continues to grow or if this is the beginning of a downward spiral. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, forgive me, I did not know who the teal shirt name is. If you want to give your, Danielle, if you want to give those sheets over here, they can be passed out.
Next, we have Amanda Shaw and Jeremy Barrett for testing. Is Mr. Barrett here? Okay.
We fought over it, and I won. No, I'm just kidding. Mr. Barrett has been very kind to let me take these 5 minutes tonight. So,
Name and address.
Amanda Shaw, 841, Apartment 3, Fort Wood, Apartment 3, District 4. Chairman Smith and Hamilton County Board members, my name is Amanda Shaw. First of all, I want to thank you for all the work that you do to advocate for the best for our kids. Like you, I'm fully invested. I'm all in. Like most of the people here, I want Hamilton County schools to thrive. I'm a mother of 5, all in Hamilton County schools, and I'm an employee of Hamilton County at Brown Academy. I've only worked in Hope and Promise schools. I'm also a Hamilton County taxpayer and property owner, and I am a huge stakeholder, just like you. But here today, I'm simply here as a mother, asking for your help to address an issue that's negatively impacting my own family, and then I can speak for others. But what comes to mind really quick is my mind's been wandering all week, and I've been back in Sequoia National Park for some reason. When I think about testing, I know, because I'm thinking of my little son. He's 6 years old, and he's reaching up, and he's touching this huge cross-section of a 3,000-year-old tree. And he sees the rings, and he says, "Mama, what are these about?" And I start telling the story. And likewise, we have a story here. Public education is a sapling. We're 200 years old, and there's not much data yet about how we're going to end up. So my own family is that cross-section that I'm offering to you today about the overuse of standardized testing. I have a 1st grader, a 4th grader, 6th grader, 9th grader, and an 11th grader. And I've sent you this document. It's called Hamilton County Pulse Check, a cross-section on one family struggle with standardized testing. And if you look at that, the first page, I just want to highlight the 1st grader and the 11th grader. The 1st grader this year, I calculated all the time he was in standardized testing, and it was 67 hours. That's the equivalent to 19 days of instruction time. Are you okay with that? I'm not okay with that. His life is flying by. And I'm not counting content tests, which adds another 36 hours. Okay, so if you add that up, let's start doing the math. So I did the minutes, I've broken it down for you. His minutes are important to me. Then I did hours, then I did weeks. And if I calculate 13 years of that, we have taken away a year and a half of his education for standardized testing. That's sad. Okay, and when we compare it to the peers in private schools that don't have any standardized testing, we are widening the opportunity gap that we claim that we are closing by public education. Furthermore, my kids, they're about six days of illness, but we know at Hope and Promise schools, that is 10 to 15 days. Okay, so you add on this 19 days to 10 to 15, do the math, that's 30 days that these kids are missing, and that is hard to make up. That explains this gap where by third grade, we've been scratching our heads. Why are 1 in 5 or 6 not reading by third grade? Well, I'm here to argue that our standardized testing overkill is adding to that. It's the equivalent to chronic absenteeism. So what I'm asking is, when you please read this, and I'd like to continue this conversation, and thank you for listening. What I propose is this, and what I'm asking for, reduce the number of benchmarks tests. Now, a lot of people I've talked to have said none, right? But I would ask at least no more than one, understanding they're already taking TCAP at the end of the year. Reduce K-2 microphase testing to once or twice a year. And I would ask, and I've heard the rumor that we're doing away, hopefully, with benchmark testing K-2 already. But just to note, if we do that, right now, still 24 hours of standardized testing would be done to K-2 at the minimum, okay? Also, I'm asking for transparency. Parents have a legal right to know how many hours their kids are being tested. Don't just post the schedule for me. Oops, I'll get that later. Don't post the schedule for me. I want to know actual hours and what it's being spent on. And finally, please trust the system that's in place for accountability for students and teachers. We've already got it. Like I heard last time, the standards, all the testing's in place. So please, thank you for listening, and let's continue the conversation.
Next, we have nurses, Lindsay Gibson and Alina Johnston. Is it Elena or Alina? See if she's outside.
Show of hands, who's here for nurses?
Elena.
I don't know if she's here.
Okay.
Okay. Lindsay Gibson, 13497 Emerald Creek Circle.
Hold on, Ms. Gibson, hold on. Okay. Go ahead, Ms.
Lindsay Gibson, 13497 Emerald Creek Circle, Side Daisy, District 1. I'm here tonight. I promised I wasn't going to get emotional, so I'm going to choke it back. The risk of doing away with our PRN nurses is detrimental. Even one of them. It has come back that we may be able to get half of what the proposed cut. We may be able to get half that back. We can't afford that either. We're operating at a 70% effective rate, 30% deficit now with the PRN nurses we have. I've been a nurse for 27 years plus. I have been with Hamilton County for 16 years. I was hired in with 10. We had 50 nurses at the time. I've lived the life of being split from school to school. I've been in the school building when I had one seizing and one overdosing in another building. We can't clone ourselves, and we shouldn't expect our kids to handle less than that. The current reality is right now we're already stretched thin. Even with PRN support, we operated this year 30% deficit. That's 840 shifts that were covered, hundreds that were not. PR nurses are not on salary. They're part-time, non-benefit. So if we don't need them, they don't get paid. And we need them all the time. And they only get paid when they work. We're not asking for more. We could, but we're not. We're asking to leave it alone. Don't put the health and safety of our children at the bottom of a spreadsheet or the bottom line. It is not. They're worth way more than that. You've heard the plan, assign nurses with fewer procedures to float between buildings. As it stands, if a PRN nurse were eliminated next year, the average 17 nurses will float. 17 nurses will float and be pulled from schools nearly 40% of the year, leaving 20% of our schools without a nurse for almost half the time. But I ask you, what is the cost of time? In anaphylaxis, death can occur in minutes. Seizure medications must be given in 3 to 5 minutes. EMS is not immediate. We had a school of a child that was at a school that was having a seizure. It took EMS 35 minutes to get to this baby. Thank goodness there was an ICU-trained pediatric nurse in that building, and she's the one that is going to be pulled because there's not many procedures in her building. But we needed her. Staff don't know how to respond. Those are scary times. And we're looked at as the medical professional, the medical provider in the building. Emergencies are not rare, they're inevitable. A staff member complained of heartburn. This is in our county this year. A nurse urged an ER visit. They were in atrial fib, which is arrhythmia. They were going home, but they went to the ER and they lived. 2 staff members just not feeling well. Our nurses recognized the signs. Both were having strokes. A choking student run to the clinic by a teacher. I was that nurse. We've trained them the mechanics of how to do the Heimlich maneuver, but who do they turn to? Who's there whenever they need life-saving measures? It's the nurse. That child lived. We did the Heimlich maneuver. He lived. But what if there wasn't a nurse for them to run to? According to Tennessee law, that we can have volunteers are not really a real plan in the building. You can have volunteers. They must volunteer according to Tennessee state law. That doesn't mean, hey, do you want to volunteer? It means I give myself to you to train me how to do this. But they are held accountable to the state law or the standards that they are held to. We have to train them, and they also have to take that responsibility on. That means if no nurse is present, no one can give legally life-saving treatment. This year alone, HCS has had 777 emergency prescribed albuterol and 198 school-issued albuterol treatments for a child that can't breathe. The nurse is the only one that can give that breathing treatment in the building. 198. Asthma attacks can happen without warning, and they show up, and they've never happened before. Yes, a staff member may volunteer to be trained, and we honor their willingness, but let's be honest, in the middle of a real emergency, that training disappears. These are not nurses, they're educators, and they should be left to educate and tend to the other office things that they need to do. And they should never be put in a position where a child's life depends on split-second medical treatment. The hidden impact, even our field trips. Our children on field trips, if you cut our PRN, if it's a field trip and a nurse is needed at the school or on the field trip, guess what? The field trip doesn't happen. No one can be in 2 places at one time. The proposed plan that is coming, there is one nurse being stretched 12 to 15 miles. Remember, 3 to 5 minutes in anaphylaxis. Hundreds of students have Schedule II drugs, and there were drugs, Schedule II controlled narcotics that were stolen that with a school that didn't have a nurse. So thank you so much.
Next we have seed staff, Brianna Harvey, Heather Beal, Ashley Hubbard Heights, Ernest Reed, Annie Boggs, Laura Massey, and Donovan Davis. It's his son, I believe.
My name is Laura Massey. My address is on file, and I work at Big Ridge Elementary in District 3.
I'm Edna Varner, Lake Vista Drive, District 5. I shifted, but I need 7 seconds tonight.
What? She was one of my teachers. What am I supposed to do?
My name is Heather Beal. The address I'm using is 5210 Cassandra Smith Road for my school, and I'm District 3.
Do you live in this state though? I mean, do you live in Hamilton? Okay.
Yes.
My name's
Okay.
Annie Boggs. My school is in District 5 at 6836 Tyner Road, Tyner Middle Academy.
My name is Brianna Harvey. My address is on file, and I live in District 3.
My name is Ashley Hubbard Heights. I live at 2322 Covey Lane, and I am in District 7.
Donovan Davis, 1051 Wynwood East Ridge, District 8.
The 2025-2026 proposed budget states that the budgeting process is rooted in integrity, where students are placed at the center and every decision is made with the best interest of all students in mind. I believe that reducing the number of seed positions in Hamilton County schools is a direct conflict to this communicated value of integrity. I would like to highlight Dr. Robertson's key message in the budget proposal, that continued development requires continued investment. A reduction of 9 school counselors, 9 social workers, and 3 student support coaches does not indicate continued investment in student well-being. The work we do is extensive, and there are days where we feel like we couldn't support every child like we hoped due to the sheer volume of student needs and limited time. The reality is we are already stretched thin, and further budget cuts to our department would inevitably lead to students going without essential education, developmental support, and crisis support. None of us here want that for our students.
No teacher, counselor, administrator, or school social worker does what a school social worker does, because our role is not interchangeable, it's essential. One of our school social workers was working with a student who had experienced a significant trauma and was having a hard time connecting at school. Despite receiving outside mental health support, the school social worker sensed something deeper was wrong. Even when others believed that the student was doing fine, she trusted her professional instincts and continued to check in. Because of her persistence, she was able to uncover a serious safety concern to the student and the school community, which included a manifesto to carry out mass harm to the entire school. We build relationships, we pay attention, we collaborate with families, teachers, administrators, and safety personnel. We step in before it's too late. If you believe that school social workers are not essential in every building, then I want to ask you to look into the eyes of our students, families, staff, and teachers, and tell them that their livelihoods are not worth budgeting for. Look into the eyes of children sleeping in cars, and look into the eyes of teachers contemplating suicide, and tell them that they don't matter. When chronic absenteeism skyrockets, graduation rates drop, and students' test scores plummet, you can proudly stand there and say, hey, at least we budgeted for 3 state benchmarks. You cannot put a price tag on student lives, and cutting school social workers comes dangerously close to that. Thank you.
My name is Heather Beal. I'm the social worker at Big Ridge Elementary, and I've been here for almost 2 years now. In my time at Big Ridge, I've distributed over 1,800 bags of food and over 150 sets of clothing and hygiene supplies to help families meet their essential needs. I partnered with local churches and raised over $2,500 to house a family experiencing homelessness. Social workers support all of our students. For another example are my Mindful Monday lessons. I teach all 480 of my students social emotional coping skills every single Monday to reduce classroom disruptions. At my school alone, I have completed over 600 counseling sessions, equipping them with crucial coping skills and creating a more positive learning environment for all. I've also helped students de-escalate and be able to stay in the classroom over 103 times, and that's just me. Another thing that I did in my time is I spearheaded the creation of a truancy team. Together, our truancy team reduced our chronic truancy rates from 12.5% in the 2022 to 2023 school year to only 8.5% so far. These specific data points illustrate the daily realities and also the significant impact of a school social worker at just one small elementary school. To put it plainly, I am busy all of the time, and my school would be very significantly impacted by the loss of a school social worker. And suggesting that teachers can just absorb these responsibilities on top of their already heavy workload overlooks their demanding tasks and the specialized training that is required to address their complex social, emotional, and economic barriers of our students. Essentially, we urge you to recognize our profound and indispensable value. We do more than you realize.
I'll be quick. I was on the list, but I agreed to shift to April 29th so that I would have the whole 5 minutes to make the point that first, counselors are educators. What these folks do, they accomplish what's on the wall behind you. All children thrive and experience a future without limits.
I'm the student support coach at East Ridge Elementary, and every day I see how seed roles like mine, our counselors and our social workers, are the bridge between students and success.
Ma'am. Unfortunately, I get this role a lot, so I'm used to it. I have to be the bad guy. The 5 minutes for this topic is up, but if you just hold tight, I got an announcement later on that may meet your need, okay?
Okay.
Just hold tight for me. But I have to move on to the next topic.
All right.
Will you raise your hand if you're here for the seed department?
Next, we have state legislation. Amanda Eddins, Kyle Carrasco, Christine DiPietro, is that how you said it? DiPietra, Yolanda Jones, Beta, I'm not gonna mess that up for you, so Beta, okay, I don't wanna mess up your name. I have one of those names, so I don't like people doing that to me. And Elizabeth Ruffner and Mo, okay, he's already up here, okay. Please raise your hand if you're here for legislation.
Just a quick point of information. How much time am I being allotted?
So it's 5 of you all,
Perfect.
1 minute per person.
Perfect.
Of course, I just want to. Which name is not up here? Who's not standing up here? The first two. The first two, okay. I'll call for them.
So Amanda and Kyle.
If y'all,
Okay.
all of y'all who are speaking, if you go ahead and say your names and your address and your district, and then we'll start.
So Amanda and Kyle gave up their time.
Yes.
Christine DePietro, 1015 Brentwood Terrace, 37415. Pretty sure I'm in District 3.
Yolanda Fernandez Jones. I live in District 5. My address is on file.
Mo Rodriguez Cruz, my address is on file, District 4.
Elizabeth Ruffner, I'm in District 2, and my address is on file.
Bita Bagayavaji, I'm unaware of my district and my address is on file.
As a teacher in this district, I want to talk about the actual impact of the bill, SB 0836 HB 793. The comments from our elected officials, Bo Watson and William Lamberth, in support of this bill are extremely concerning. Both of them have been quoted as saying that the rising cost of English language learning support is a motivating factor in creating this bill. There are over 6,000 English language learners currently enrolled in Hamilton County schools, which makes up between 11 and 13% of our student population across all schools in the district. Our ENL speakers speak over 400 plus languages at home. Some of our ENL students are native-born American citizens. Some of them are documented immigrants. Some of them are undocumented immigrants. Some of them are immigrants who live in a state of flux where their documentation can be taken from them at any moment. The SCOTUS recently voted in 5 conservative justices on April 7th on Trump v. JGG 2025, they ruled that it is well established that the Fifth Amendment entitles aliens to due process of law, upholding that all residents of the United States, regardless of their documentation status, have the same rights as we do while in the United States. Aside from the fact that this is wrong, it will also cost our district a lot of money. Who will pay for the extra staff to process this new information? Teachers, administrators, and school staff already have too many duties to add to this. And if only 2,000 of our students who are E&L students are undocumented, it will cost us $15,852,000 from federal and state funding. Losing this amount of money would equate to even more staff cuts and negatively impact every single school in Hamilton County. I urge you to please vote yes to this resolution.
Good afternoon. An opportunity to set an example, be champions, and stand on the right side of history. I'm a graduate of Hamilton County Schools, top 10% of CCA's class of 2016. I'm originally from Mexico, and I have lived in Chattanooga since I was 5, since when I went to the University of Chicago and graduated with two bachelor's degrees. Of course, attending college as a DACA recipient would not have been possible without the support of my remarkable parents, my incredible educators, and without the life lessons I learned, the challenges I faced, and the education I gained as an undocumented student in Hamilton County. As such, I would like to spend a few seconds as a representative of my community and expressing our deep concerns about SB 0836, HB 793, and why today this board has an opportunity to set an example for other school boards and elected officials throughout Tennessee, send a resounding message to the immigrant community of Hamilton County that its school board unapologetically stands with them, and that this board stands on the right side of history and welcomes all students, regardless of who they are and where they come from. In June of 2022, the Department of Justice celebrated the 40th anniversary of Clier v. Doe from 1982, a landmark decision ruling that undocumented students have the right to attend public schools. Thanks to the education I learned from Richard Donnelly, I know that amidst these times, the Texas state legislature passed a law under the pretense of funding, of using taxpayer money for other reasons, and ultimately concluded in the landmark decision that ruled that immigration status does not matter when accessing public education, and that it is a right protected by the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. While we cannot imagine a life without this landmark decision, it's clear that these sentiments have not gone away. We were quite alarmed in 2022 when a previous member of this body chose to call Latinx students a burden. We noted then that the harmful and neglectful sentiments of this nature can easily spread, and now we find ourselves at the risk of allowing history to repeat itself as the Tennessee General Assembly entertains a racist, xenophobic, and unconstitutional bill spearheaded by a local senator under the pretense of budget concerns. Esteemed board, this is dangerous, this is wrong, and quite frankly a waste of time disguised as genuine concern, and I think it's ridiculous that a senator would spend time attacking children and the right to education. We are in a historic moment here in Chattanooga. While the Latinx community has always been present, our community has always been here, we've been watching, listening, and paying attention. And not only are we watching, but the state, the region, and the country has its eyes on us. I have full faith and confidence that the members of the school board are ready to be the leaders of our community needs and will vote in the affirmative for the resolution. I have faith and truly believe that this board is ready to make it clear that the Supreme Court made a ruling over 40 years ago and that all students have a right to an education, no matter their immigration status. I believe and have faith in this moment that this board is ready to seize the opportunity and set an example, be champions, and stand on the right side of history. Vote yes, affirmative on the resolution. Thank you.
I was
recognizing that she is a student.
I am a student.
So
How much time will I be allowed?
No. I misspoke. I said that. No. That was your group?
I was told I was going to be able to get 5 minutes to speak as a student, but I totally understand that that has to be.
Kids were promised 5 minutes. The kids are taking 5 minutes. Hold on, Justin Wilkins. I'm gonna figure it out. Ho.
Even if it has to be a shorter amount of time, I would really love to represent student voices.
Was that a thing? Bennett, was that a thing?
I may have said that. I may have said that if I did. I made
But
a
we can't,
mistake.
just,
What?
but we already at the students. though.
Chairman Smith, we may have made a mistake when we were calling people because we did put students at the bottom.
Okay.
So I'll take
on.
responsibility for this. We put them at the bottom.
Hi, thank you. Hi, my name is Bisa Bagoyevaji. I'm a student at UTC currently studying political science. First, I do want to thank the members.
Wait a minute.
Let me correct that. We didn't make a mistake. We meant students in Hamilton County. So she's in this group. My bad.
I mean, go on. I'll take this fall. Go ahead, honey.
First, I want to thank the members of the school board for the time allotted. I stand before you not only as a student, but as a leader of the student government organization from a family of immigrants and the daughter of an educator. I believe that I am horrified by the future of education in Tennessee, specifically Hamilton County. With these concerns in mind, I would like the council to be aware of the unintended consequences of Senator Watson's bill regarding the rights of undocumented students. As we are aware, food scarcity is an ongoing problem in Hamilton County, and many children depend on their school for access to a meal. Not only does this legislation make education inaccessible, it will also be taking a meal away from a student in need. Parents of students will be at risk and forced to leave their jobs and homeschool their children, creating an economic risk. This bill has nothing to do with budget savings, and if these legislators genuinely cared about the fiscal impact of this legislation, they would not have established the voucher bill, which is actively harming the fiscal stability of public schools. More than 24 small businesses in the Chattanooga area have spoken out against this legislation, calling this bill economically reckless. To quote a Hamilton County mother, in my opinion, this is not something our legislature should be spending their resources on when there are much larger issues at hand in the current environment. She said we should leave children out of the conversation. I can't believe or even begin to address the unintended consequences of taking students out of the school district, leaving them in very vulnerable positions. As a school board must know the effects of student truancy, which will create a recipe for disaster in Hamilton County. These children have not committed a crime. They are asking for the right to equitable education. I ask the council for a second to think outside of your personal privileges and life experiences and think about how many families will be impacted by this legislation. Or even for a second, think about if your child was denied the right to equitable education. As we already addressed the concept of the unconstitutionality of the bill, I will not spend more time addressing that, but the safety and well-being of innocent children is being at risk due to this xenophobic bill. This piece of legislation is not indicative of party values, as we can see by the 7 votes of disapproval by the Republican Party in the House floor. This is not an issue of party values. This is an issue of humanity. As a school board, your main mission should be to serve all children, not just some. As a Tennessean, as a humanitarian, and as a constitutionalist, I strongly encourage the Hamilton County School Board to opt out of changing admission or charging or excluding students from public school. Thank you to the board for allowing me to express the voice of many concerned Hamilton County residents who are deeply, deeply concerned. I yield my time. Thank you.
Next we have individuals with individual topics. Aiden Mills.
My name is Aiden Mills. I live at 4420 Norcross Road, District 6, I think. I probably won't take all 5 minutes. Sorry that you were limited to 5 minutes, other people. That's outrageous. I'm a senior at Red Bank High School, and I've been utilizing my school social worker, Miss Smith, for the past 2 years. Before meeting with Miss Smith, I felt stuck with no one to talk to and felt isolated. Before her, I kept my problems a secret and didn't tell anyone that was going on in my life. I'm heavily involved in my school, from being a leader in Fellowship of Christian Athletes to sports like football, wrestling, track, and soccer, to clubs, FCA club and other countless clubs, even student council, yet no one knew what was really going on at home and inside in my mind. Ms. Smith has helped me not only emotionally, but also provided support and resources in various ways. I would have never known certain resources existed without her. One of those was the Family and Transition Program, which helped me pay for my sports, clothing, food, and even helped me with college. Because of Ms. Smith, I was able to move into UTC dorms. I'm able to move into UTC dorms this summer and be the first in my family to attend college and break the generational curse. When I moved out of my grandfather's house because we were so poor we couldn't even afford food for everyone in the house, Ms. Smith helped me to ease into my new home because I wasn't used to the way that my new family worked. Along with stepping in and helping my family back in my last home, my brother, he's a college dropout, he didn't go, but he needed help because he was stuck in the situation that I was in. In my life, I had never felt chosen and always felt like I was a second option. Ms. Smith made me feel chosen and appreciated by someone. And I truly believe that God had put her in my life to help me and my family. In order to resolve this conflict, the board needs to look within. Is a budget cut worth countless students losing a person who provides and helps students every day? And you may be thinking that other people can do their jobs, but this is not true. I've come to find out that social workers work on all levels of support and help me succeed and other students, not only as a student, but as a person in the community and in general, as in the state of Tennessee or in the world. If you remove school social workers from base funding, you're telling kids like me that I don't matter. If people like Ms. Smith were not in schools today, I would not be here right now. I have papers to hand out.
Emmy Wilkins. Emmy Wilkins.
My name is Emmy Wilkins. I'm from District 5. I am a 5th grade student at CSAS. I'm here today to ask each of you, will you protect my friends? Senator Bo Watson and others like him are attacking my friends, kids who have done nothing wrong. Students are supposed to be places where all kids learn, feel safe, and are treated fairly. Denying education to kids who did nothing wrong is not fair. It's mean. It's wrong. Imagine going to school and your friends aren't there anymore, and then the next day they're still gone. How would you feel if you were a kid and grown-ups said you couldn't go back to school anymore? How would you feel if someone said you didn't get to see your friends at school anymore when they did nothing wrong? How would it make you feel if all of a sudden your friends were gone? Leaders are not supposed to hurt kids, but Senator Bo Watson's bill hurts my friends and me. He wants to take education away from kids who might grow up to be teachers, doctors, or even leaders like you. He wants to take my friends and classmates away. Lots of others are speaking up to protect my friends. Principals, business leaders, faith leaders, Republicans, and Democrats have all said it is wrong to punish kids who did nothing wrong. Will you join them? Don't you believe that all children deserve an education, no matter where they are from? You are the ones with the power to protect us kids from politicians bullying and using us kids to try to win their elections. Leaders are supposed to use their power to help people. Will you please vote to protect my friends? 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 Close your eyes. Seriously, close your eyes. Just imagine being a kid who wants to go to school and be with your friends. Now imagine someone tells you that they don't think you should get to see your friends again. Someone else says, don't worry, no matter where you're from, I'm going to protect you and your friends because every kid deserves the chance to learn. What kind of leader will you be for us? Will you join the bullies using kids for politics? Or will you join the pastors, principals, the business owners, the parents, the kids who are standing up to the bullies to protect us kids? Will you be leaders who protect my friends and protect kids?
Yes.
Trevor, I was trying to get myself together. Trevor Fuller.
Mr. Chairman, School Board, thank you for your time. I'm Trevor Fuller.
Mr. Fuller, I'm sorry, can you, before we start, can you say your name and your address?
Yes, Trevor Fuller. I live on Glendale Lane in Soddy Daisy, Tennessee. I'm in District 1. I'm here to talk to you today about chronic absenteeism, educational abuse, and how that's used to increase the graduation rate. For the last several years, this has been a real problem for teachers that struggle with this in the classrooms. We keep waiting for help and nothing. It feels like we're turning a blind eye to a real problem. It's not a building problem, it's a county-wide problem, as I've talked to colleagues in many other schools. In my building, my principal and my assistant principal, Jared Hensley, I see them all the time working with kids, counseling, harping on them, trying to get them in class, but our attendance policy has no teeth, and their hands are tied from outside the building. One of the most fundamental principles of leadership is it's not what you preach, it's what you tolerate. And we tolerate a great deal right now. Kids and parents aren't listening to what we say or what we put in the handbook. They watch to see how much we'll put up with and then push it even further. We've created a culture where kids miss 30, 40, 50, and more days, knowing that we will graduate them regardless. Parents won't hesitate to schedule cruises or beach vacations right in the middle of school time. And there's nothing we can do about that. Currently, and I have kids I love, great kids, but my absentee rate's at 40% almost. But when I look in Power School at other classes, heck, it's a lot more than that. Chronic absenteeism is a leading cause of failing grades, and our answer to that's edgenuity. We're consumed with the graduation rate, and that's all we ever hear about. Every year at graduation, colleagues and I sit and look at each other, and we see some kids, bless their hearts, that we just wonder how they walked across the stage, how they made it. Last year I had a student who missed 55 days, that's 11 weeks of school. No illnesses, just didn't come. 2 weeks of edgenuity got them to the stage. Edgenuity was originally designed as credit recovery, but now it's a primary tool of instruction for a lot of kids. On our website, our county website, it says one of the reasons the graduation rate increased was through personalized instruction. I submit to you there is nothing personalized or tailored about the instruction Edgenuity provides. Not only is it a poor substitute for classroom instruction, but it's also no secret at all to teachers or admin across the county that kids cheat their way through Edgenuity using apps and AI and in record time. I'm sure when I sit down, somebody will reassure you that there are all these safeguards in place to stop that with Edgenuity. Come talk to my kids about Edgy Pro and other apps. I had to correct a student just a couple of days ago. I said, why are you not going to math class? And he thought he was giving me a good answer. He says, don't worry, Mr. Fuller. I got AI running at home right now. It's knocking it out for me. I provide you a couple documents from students and from colleagues in other counties, other schools across the county, and I could provide more if you wanted. I could probably fill this place up with kids from the last 2 years who did the same thing on Edgenuity. How did we get here? Well, when COVID hit and the previous superintendent was here, we graduated anyone with a heartbeat. I had students in my class who had never seen, had nothing for grades, and we graduated them. And I asked my admin, and the answer was, just let it go, Fuller, let it go. And then to make matters worse, there was a press release that said Hamilton County increased the graduation rate in the middle of a pandemic. And teachers looked at each other and like, what? And naively, the school board that time celebrated at the next board meeting. Okay? After that, there was no going back. Once you set the graduation rate that high, it's never going back. The next couple of years, we had COVID money, and I signed up to do tutoring. I thought it was tutoring. I showed up one Saturday to teach some kids, and what I got was a room full of kids who, again, hadn't been showing up to school and were there to do a bridged Edgenuity to try to get them across the stage. Edgenuity has become the order of the day for failing students, and I wish I had $1 for every time I hear graduation rate, graduation rate. There's an easy fix. Give me a graduation rate with some teeth and let me teach them in the classroom. Why do I care? Well, this cheapens my profession. It cheapens what I do in the classroom. And it insults my kids who show up and work with me so hard. These are my kids in my school and will grow up in my community. And the consequences of not showing up and taking the easy way out is something that they need to learn from me, not out in the world the hard way. In closing, ignore the data on this. I can go to imright.com and prove or disprove anything. Instead, I'm asking you to go back to your schools and talk to your boots on the ground teachers and see what they say about this. And if I'm wrong, count me out. If not, offer us some real help. It's a long time coming. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Lauren Sloan. Lauren Sloan. She coming, I think. Is that her? Oh, no. Okay, yeah, that's her. I got it right here.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I live at 527 Young Avenue, so I am in District 6, but the school that I'm speaking for, and all the schools mostly are, I'm sorry, in District 4. So thank you. And first off, Ms. Wilkins, obviously she represents the school that I'm going to talk about and how amazing it is, so she said all of it. Just her amazing. Thank you, members for the school board, for this time this evening. I'm here speaking on behalf of thousands of magnet students and thousands of families across Hamilton County. First, I want to acknowledge the incredibly difficult job you have. Balancing needs and budgets in times of economic uncertainty is no small task. I've overseen large budgets myself in corporate America, so I understand the pressure. I also recognize funded decisions often lie with the county, and rest assured, I'm going to be there as well. And I hope everybody April 30th that's in this room is going to be joining me at the commissioners' meeting then as well, and on the phone. Magnet transportation, but I have to say clearly, magnet transportation should never be on the table to begin with. I'm Lauren Sloan. I'm a mom of 3 kids. 2 attend CSAS. One's heading to CCA next year, and the other one is going to STEM next year. And then I will have a rising kindergarten at CSAS in a year as well. My husband is a CSAS teacher. So yes, our family is fully invested in the magnet school community. It's not just where we go, it's who we are. We are lucky to live in a county that offers choice, where students' options aren't determined by zip code, and excellence is possible for every student. But school choice only works if students can actually get to schools. Magnet transportation is not a luxury, it's an essential. It protects students' safety, it enables real choice, and it prevents our schools from resegregating by race, income, and neighborhood. Let me paint the picture. CSAS sits on 3rd Street in the middle of downtown rush hour. Even with buses, traffic, it is intense. For many families juggling jobs and younger children, drop off and pick up aren't just inconvenient, they're unsafe. Imagine an ambulance trying to get into that school with 100 more vehicles a day. We could have a serious accident. Taking buses away doesn't just make life harder, it puts students at risk. My oldest son is an athlete, ranked 42nd in the state for cross country. He plays center mid on our soccer team and will, even though he's going to STEM, be able to go back to CSAS and play for the CSAS school team. Without after-school bus service, my husband is a teacher, I as a full-time working mom, we really couldn't make that work. We're stretched, and just imagine what it's like for families with fewer resources. One of my closest friends is a single mom. Her son has mental health challenges. She gets him to a central bus stop each day because it's the only way he can attend the school that fits his needs. Without that bus, a 6-mile drive becomes a 2-hour daily commute, time she doesn't have. Without transportation, access disappears. And that's what this is really about, access and equity. Magnet schools like CSAS serve a racially and economically diverse population. About 10% of our family are economically disadvantaged, and about the same percentage are on the opposite end of the spectrum. That mix is part of the magic. It's what makes these schools thrive. By contrast, many schools in Hamilton County remain deeply segregated. Some are over 85% white with few low-income students. But magnet schools reflect the true demographics of our county, and they produce some of the highest academic scores in the district. Diversity works. It leads to better outcomes. It is not just a moral imperative, it is a proven strategy for success. So tonight I ask you to protect this model. Don't let transportation become a barrier to safety, equity, and academic excellence. Keep magnet transportation off the chopping block and keep school choice real and fair for every student, no matter where they live, what they look like, or how much money their parents make. And join me, everybody in this room, on April 30th with our commissioners, please.
Greg Wilkie. Is Mr. Wilkie here? Okay. I thought I saw him. I just couldn't see him anymore. Okay.
Hi, I'm Greg Wilkie. I live at 2009 Morris Hill Road in District 7. Chairman Smith, members of the school board, Dr. Robertson, thank you for this time tonight. I'm here on many levels, but primarily as a principal. I'm principal at Eastside Elementary School. I'm also the current president of the County Principal Association. We're here tonight under one banner. That's basically this. The heart of leadership is simple, powerful truth. We serve every child, every community. This is just not a motto we follow. It's our daily mission, our legal duty, and our moral charge as leaders in public education. Our schools are not exclusive clubs. They are not places where we omit children. They are where children, regardless of immigration status, background, zip code, or language, find safety, dignity, and opportunity. As leaders, we remember very well the Supreme Court case in '82 that says children are allowed to come to school regardless of their immigration status. As leaders, that drives us. To exclude a child is to fail our future. As school leaders, we cannot and we will not be silent about policies that threaten the promise of public education. We ask this board to stand with us, to lead alongside us, and to ensure that Hamilton County remains a beacon of inclusion and not a barrier to it. We are also here tonight to express our support for Dr. Robertson. Those of us who lead schools know the weight of every decision. We know what it means to carry your community, to respond to a crisis, to be visible in both triumph and trial. Leadership in public education is harder than it ever has been, and it matters more now than it ever has. While we may not always agree with every decision or see the full picture, in real time, we do see Dr. Robertson and his commitment. He listens, he learns, and he does lead. As principals, we understand what it means to make hard choices that may not please everyone, but we are rooted in what's best for kids. We stand behind our superintendent because we know that strong schools require strong systems, and strong systems require courageous, consistent leadership. We also know that leadership cannot thrive without adequate support. That's why we must talk about funding. We recognize that the difficult budget decisions before you are not your making. Since 2008, investment in our schools have dropped 11%. That is an 11% decline in support for every system charged with educating children. As school leaders, we feel those losses every day. Fewer resources mean fewer positions, fewer interventions, fewer opportunities to meet the needs of all learners. We are being asked to lead schools at a time of growing needs and shrinking support. That is unsustainable. We urge our community, our elected officials, and our funding bodies to understand fully funding public education is not optional, it's essential. We can't continue to place impossible burdens on our schools and expect strong leadership to carry the weight alone. And as these decisions unfold, we ask you to protect what matters most. Our student-facing and building-level positions, the people in our buildings are not luxuries. They are the very foundation of learning. They are the hands and the hearts of our leadership. In every conversation, every policy, and every budget decision, let us lead with this reminder. We serve every child, we serve every community, and to do that well, we must support those who lead. Thank you for your time, your service, and your continued partnership.
Blake Williams.
Good afternoon. My name is Blake Williams. I live at 7005 Lister Road, Harrison, Tennessee. I live in District 9. I'm an independent school bus contractor here with Hamilton County Schools. I know a lot of people don't understand what that means. I own the bus. There's several of us out here that own, maintain, and keep the driver on the bus. I would first like to thank the board for our approval of our contract in February, and I look forward to continuing to serve Hamilton County Schools for the next 4 years, and hopefully many more years to come. I was hired in 2022, and I'm now contracted to 10 school routes that are 3 tiers, meaning they serve a middle school, high school, and elementary school route daily. Attached to those routes is magnet transportation. If those magnet schools, I'd like to talk to you about if those magnet schools are cut. I get paid by mileage. Since 2022, I personally have spent $1.4 million on buses. My home, credit cards are maxed out. I've got everything on the line. If my pay is cut that dramatically, I will have to file bankruptcy. Those routes will not run. If our student does not have the means to ensure that they will run, I would like to, just let you know I would lose everything that I've worked extremely hard for. Not only the students that attend these magnet schools would be forced to return to their zone schools and cause overcrowding in their home schools and on the school buses. These students would be deprived of the education they so longed for. They've been tested and accepted into these magnet programs. I want the board to please consider the bus contractors, the students, the teachers, and the families that this will impact before you make these budget cuts. I appreciate you all's time. Thank you.
Mr. Chair. May I ask a backup question? I just want to make some clarification with Mr. Williams, okay? I just want to make a point on transportation.
Hold on, Mr. Williams, he got a question.
Go ahead, I'm so sorry about that.
We typically don't do this, ladies.
I know.
Yes, sir, Mr. Brown.
I know, because of dealing with not only you, but numerous contractors and drivers over our new contract. How much, now, you have at least 5 buses that are max seats, right?
I have
94 seats or?
90 passenger buses is what I purchased.
Right. How much does one of those cost you brand new?
Well, I actually brought you a folder today. The first bus I purchased brand new in February of 2022 with air conditioning. That was a 90 passenger bus. I gave $133,258 for it.
Okay, you have one on order right now, don't you?
Yes, sir.
How much is that?
$218,000.
Okay, I just
They
wanted
went
to
up
make
that dramatically
point
in
for
2
the
years.
board.
You said you brought that for us, that folder?
I'll be glad to leave the
You can
copy.
give it to Shirley, she can get copies.
Yeah. I just wanted the board and those who are here to understand how, these contractors that we have that cover so many routes, including magnet schools, how much they have invested in this and the unintended consequences of cutting our magnet schools. So I just wanted to clarify that for everybody.
Well, I appreciate that, Larry.
This is a huge personal expense that's made by these contractors to keep our kids safe and get them where we can follow what we claim to follow in terms of school choice. Thank you.
I would like to add one more thing. Am I allowed to do that? I didn't use my whole 5 minutes.
Oh, okay, go ahead
Hey,
now.
here's one thing I do want to say is yesterday I did hear on the news, and I don't know all the facts to this. A county commissioner got on last night at 10 o'clock and said that we were supposed to still be using COVID money to fund our school year, this upcoming year. We're 4 years out for COVID. I don't think that's realistic. And I'm with Ms. Sloan back there in the back. We need to visit our county commissioners on, was it April the 30th, Ms. Sloan? On April the 30th to let them know I don't think that's a realistic measure.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Miss Sydney Smith. Sydney Smith. Okay.
Hi, I'm Sydney Smith. I am in District 10. Our school address is 9980 Snowy Owl Road. Okay. I'm a school social worker at Ottawa Elementary School. I'm here today to talk about why school social workers and social and emotional staff are critical in our school systems. I'm not here only advocating for myself, but for my school counselor, my student support coach, and all the rest of the social workers, but most importantly, our children, our families, and our community. It's essential that we support them holistically because a child who is struggling emotionally or socially cannot thrive academically. School social workers are uniquely equipped to bridge the gap between home, school, and community. We are mental health professionals who specialize in early intervention, crisis management, and long-term support for students and their families. This includes those experiencing suicidal ideations and harm to others, mental health counseling for those experiencing anxiety, depression, grief, and behavioral intervention, supporting those experiencing homelessness to connect them to proper resources and provide shelter for them and their families. To thoroughly explain what crisis management looks like for students, I work alongside our wonderful school counselor to support students with suicide assessments, safety planning, calls to mobile crisis, connecting students and families with outside resources, and continuing to follow up. Those services, that doesn't count for just a little hour of the day. It can be multiple days. We're at school for long hours of the days, making sure our students are as a whole, are supported. I have a student who recently, just 3 weeks ago, gave me 2 folded notes in my hand. And when I asked her what these are, she said, "These are my notes that I was giving to my family, that I wrote to my family from the countless attempts that she's tried to harm herself." And she said, "I no longer want to do that. I have found a will to live because I've been working, and I've been working hard to find those coping skills with our one-on-one sessions that I'm very intentional about and that she's been doing the hard work to do." Childhood mental health challenges are rising. Just this school year, I have supported 206 behavior interventions for students, 160 individual counseling sessions with parent permission, 110 small group counseling sessions with parent permission, with 112 students that are referred by teachers and parents. While supporting in crisis management is vital, wraparound services are vital for our students as well. And that is an important part as a school social worker. Wraparound services consist of connecting our family to community resources. Our school is partnered with a church and one of our local churches, and we provide 32 snack packs to our students every Friday. And when we're out of school on Fridays, I deliver them on Thursdays. Just this year, from August to March, I have provided 846 bags to our students. One of my students came in and she said, I love coming in your office, I love seeing you, because I know I get to take one of those black bags home so that I can have food at my house. All these numbers are important to our student well-being, and the data is great, but every child deserves to be safe. They deserve supportive learning environments, and that starts in our schools by placing school social workers in every elementary school, high school, middle school. We're not just investing in the kids, we're investing in their future in our community. So we want to give our kids that support to succeed, not just in school, but in life. So the things that are going around about us, we do more than those things. We work hard for our students and with our families and with our communities. So I appreciate you letting me come up here and talk today to support our students. But we are more than just those numbers. There are students, there are community, and there are families. Thank you.
Next is Mabry Connor and Tully. I always get this wrong. And Tully, I'm not going to say your name wrong, so.
Good evening. My name is Tully Van Corlar. I live 1719 Reed Avenue, District 11.
Good evening. My name is Mabry Connor. I live on Hanover Street, District 6. I'm a 6th grade musical theater major at CCA Chattanooga Center for Creative Arts. I'm here today to discuss the proposed cuts to the busing at our magnet schools. Buses, of all things, you think it might be a good idea to cut them. As for some of us, they are the only way of transportation to school. Buses provide a more affordable transportation option compared to having parents drive students to and from school. Additionally, school buses can reduce stress for parents by ensuring their children arrive at school on time and safely. School buses make it possible for students to attend schools that are farther away from their homes than walking distance. Ensuring that all students have access to equal education. Fewer cars on roads means less traffic and pollution. Tassandra Colvin, a 6th grader at CCA, says, "I think that buses should be kept because you're taking away magnet buses after all of these kids have earned their rightful spots at CCA. All of this is causing a ripple effect on tons of kids. I don't agree that you should take a magnet school buses from kids who earned their rightful spots at CCA, and now they can't be able to go to the school they earned their spot at. Even after all that I've talked about, there are still so many more reasons why buses need to stay. Moreover, taking away magnet school buses is not a step in the right direction for Hamilton County." Piper Rhodes, a 6th grader at CCA, says, "I think that buses have many benefits and that taking them away would be a very big drawback. I have learned when there is a problem, instead of getting angry about it or only complaining, that you think of a solution that could help us instead of and be respectful. My classmates and I believe that magnet school buses and are so grateful that Hamilton County has them."
I am also a 6th grader musical theater major at CCA. Before CCA, I attended Battle Academy. Both of these schools are incredible magnet schools, and both have very good fit for me and my family. My mom works at Battle Academy, and my sister is a 3rd grader there as well. I count on bus transportation every day to get me to and from Battle Academy. That starts at 8:10, and my school starts at 9. My passion is musical theater, singing, dancing, and acting. I'm very grateful today that I'm grateful every day that I got to audition and was accepted to this unique place. Taking away magnet school transportation has a large effect on almost every student and their family. That's why, and anyone who you would ask would say similar. I understand trying to save money, but I respectfully disagree that this is the only way to solve that solution. Please help me understand why you think taking something like transportation from students is a good idea. I have researched some of the budget for next year. I don't pretend to understand what an enormous task this would be, but I do have a few solutions coming from a 12-year-old's point of view. First, Lillian Bice says sports are great, but she believes $4 million to sports is just a little too much money when transportation only costs $1 million. Second, Melana Burkett believes in cutting all benchmarks and using the money for buses. The kids at my school are thriving academically, socially, and creatively. It seems that if transportation is cut, what will we depend on? Whether or not someone can drive them to or from school, which does not seem equitable to me, all kids matter. Our county always talks about engaging kids every day. Schools should be for all kids, no matter what they believe and where they live. Please help us understand how taking away magnet transportation will benefit CCA where I belong. It's creative, diverse, and most of all, accepting to all. This is a place for me to be. Shouldn't this matter? I think this should be a larger discussion with Hamilton County magnet schools and their families. I think we need more facts and that you need to hear how this would hurt my school, but the hundreds of families at the incredible other magnet schools. Thank you for your time and consideration. To the numerous families that this negatively impacts, save the buses.
Okay. Now, as Chairman Smith mentioned in the beginning, we did have a quite a significant amount of individuals that signed up to speak, and that unfortunately we were not able to address, to hear you all address us all tonight. However, we have decided as a collective to host a community listening session on Tuesday, April the 29th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. at Red Bank Middle School. Okay?
She signed up before I did.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so this is the rule, and I'm once again I'm gonna be the bad guy, but because I advocated for this specific policy, I know this by heart. It's through the first 3 people.
Yeah, she was the first. I was number 2.
So Blake, Haley. So I have Blake, Haley. Did I not say Haley? Oh, I'm sorry, Haley. Well, I don't know. Y'all overwhelming me tonight. My cortisol levels on 1,000,000. Come on. Come on, Haley. Thank you. So I went from Blake to Sydney. Is that what I did?
Yes, ma'am. It's okay. Thank you for giving me the time. I appreciate it.
Okay. Well, hold on, Haley. Let me finish my announcement.
Sure,
so when
go
you're done,
for
we
it.
can go
Yes,
on.
ma'am.
Okay. So we will be having a community meeting on Tuesday, April 29th, 5:30 p.m., Red Bank Middle School, in their commons area, where the public is invited to come and address us at that time. So, wanted to say that because I know a lot of people I have something to say, so you have another opportunity to do that. I would encourage you to, this is just me, nobody told me to say this, but I would implore upon you to, when you're wanting to speak to us, decide if that, instead of emailing us, come and speak to us, or decide if that should be something said at the commission on April the 30th, okay? Just wanted to share that as well. But just know that there's another opportunity. Now, come on, Haley.
Okay.
And my apologies, I'm sorry.
I appreciate you guys giving me the time this afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Robertson and Dr. Stewart, for giving us this opportunity as well. My name is Haley Shields. I live at Stonecrest Circle in District 7. I am working at an elementary school in District 10. So here I go. I proudly serve at an elementary school in District 10 at Ottawa Elementary School. I'm here tonight not just to speak on behalf of myself, but on behalf of my colleagues, my students, and families that we all serve every single day. I want to begin by addressing the proposal to cut 9 school counseling positions across our district. While I understand your budgetary challenges that you face, I urge you to consider the cost of not just these cuts in dollars, but in opportunities lost for our students. School counselors are not optional staff. We are established and Tennessee Code annotated as essential personnel in education. We are trained professionals with specific master's degrees in school counseling to allow us to work in a school setting, who deliver a comprehensive school counseling program grounded in 3 key domains: academic success, social and emotional development, and college and career readiness. School counselors provide direct interventions to every single student in our building. At the elementary level, this begins to lay the foundation. We teach classroom lessons on emotion regulation, conflict resolution, friendship skills, and responsible decision making. We run multiple small groups, and we provide individual counseling services to students facing everything from anxiety to grief to behavioral challenges and family transitions. We consult and collaborate daily with teachers, administrators, parents, and community partners to make sure that no child slips through the cracks. We are not doing this work alone. My co-counselor and I are incredibly fortunate to work alongside our invaluable school social worker and student support coach. Together we form a small but mighty seed team to serve over 850 students that surround each child with wraparound care, academic, social, emotional, college, career, and behavioral needs. We are a team focused on helping every single student reach their own definition of success to ensure that every single student learns, and most importantly, every student belongs. A critical part of that work is our data. I use data consistently to guide my decision making. Whether it's through need assessments, behavior referrals, attendance data, or academic performance, I work with my co-counselor to analyze trends to determine where our students need our support most. So far this year, by the way, I'm referencing a document that you all should have received earlier. It's bright yellow and happy. So I've conducted over 227 individual sessions, facilitated 100 small groups, and provided more than 279 classroom lessons from August through March. Also, I have supported 204 behavior responses. I've conducted 30 threat assessments and collaborated with multiple families for support to outside counseling. In addition, my co-counselor and I have completed over 40 suicide screeners and assessments. This is done in conjunction with our wonderful school social worker. My co-counselor has completed 120 classroom lessons, 60 small groups, and 190 counseling sessions with her students. All HCS counselors have met with 9,500 students this year, providing 19,000 sessions. This resulted in over 3,000 referrals to outside agencies. This year, over 6,000 small groups and over 8,500 classroom lessons were reached to the students of HCS. This data doesn't just inform us, it drives meaningful change. It helps us advocate for our students, track their progress, and ensure that our support is reaching those who need us most. We don't just support our students, we advocate for them. For students with learning disabilities or differences or medical conditions that impact their education, school counselors take the lead in writing and implementing 504 plans as their case managers in our building. This includes gathering data, partnering with parents to receive information, leading eligibility and annual meetings and addendum meetings. We work to remove barriers, provide equitable access to the education of every child they deserve. This year alone, there was a 33% increase in one school year district-wide, where counselors now manage over 2,400 plans for 504s. This is 3 times the number that were in place 5 years ago. Each school counselor in this district is responsible for hundreds of students, and yet we show up every day ready to listen, guide, and empower and support them. We are their safe place for so many students who feel like they have nowhere else to turn. We help our students find their voice through advocacy, and until they're ready, we help them stand in the gaps. So today we are doing just that. I'd like to share a short message from a teacher that I work with, because hearing directly from those we support every day is powerful. Ms. Shields always jumps in and is willing to help my students. She teaches my students during classroom lessons. This relationship that she carries on will help make my students make them into successful human beings. Also a student testimonial, I know I'm out of time, but she, a 4th grade student spoke with me earlier this week, and she said that the difference that we make, she said, is able to help her not feel sad, and it helps her when we need you. So thank you for your time, I appreciate it.
You said that was that's on the yellow sheet. Do we have it? Do we have, oh, Shirley has it. She has one, but she's, okay. Alrighty, so thank you all for your voices and advocacy tonight. We're going to, again, stress the opportunity on April 29th at 5:30 to be able to come and speak at the listening session, okay? Chip. No. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show them. I don't know, that's the best way I know how to say that. That's relatable. But yeah, I mean, it's just come and speak up. There is still the time limit. Still the time limit of the 5 minutes.
But y'all are gonna group everybody?
We gonna what?
You're not gonna group everybody for that topic, right? Everybody comes.
Did we decide that, Joe? We gotta talk about that. We was real tired last night when we decided to do this.
What's important is we're gonna set that time aside.
Right.
And we'll communicate to you in the days ahead exactly how that will work, but we hadn't heard enough, and we wanna hear from all of you. And, right, absolutely.
Oh, we know 536 emails later.
We only got 500?
Cause they like me.
That's all you got?
They not like me. They not like me.
Catch up, Rick.
We will be communicating that, but just put that on your calendar, and you'll be hearing from us in just the next day or two. Thank you to everybody that's here. I know that most of you, many of you are educators, you're nurses, you're social workers, you're teachers, you're heroes. You and daily pour into the lives of young people, and it's just amazing to me. I've been here for 9 years now, and I've never seen anything quite like this. And I appreciate you all being here so much. Our work session time is over, and guys, we've got several items that obviously we didn't get to. So what I want us to do, I want us to take a brief break. But before we do that, let's take the committee chair updates, and we'll do that at the end during our information only time of our regular board meeting. And then I want to take these items for discussion, and we'll cover those under board matters. The ex-ed staffing, Washington Alternative, Dawn School, Saudi Daisy weight room, benchmark testing. We'll add that on under board matters. Okay? With that, let's take about 10 minutes, and then we'll start our regular session. Work session is adjourned.
I'm going to finish my Subway.